We've got blue skies, we've got sunshine, as long as you don't look that way.
You remember how I said I'd been getting all the good luck and no real squalls to worry about?
45 knots, that's quite a lot of knots. I guess this is one of our first tests.
We are going to try and hack our way up through this bit of forest.
I'm not even leading the hike today, so this is definitely not my fault.
If you were taking our advice on where to go and how to do it, you're probably dead by now.
Last time on Red Seas, we sailed up to Hiva to get our engines looked at by the mechanic there. Unfortunately, after he had a look, it was not good news.
I suppose the long story short is that to repair or replace this engine is going to be literally thousands of dollars. And we don't keep a budget with thousands of dollars spare. So yeah, this could literally be the end of Red Seas.
So this week we're sailing to somewhere a little bit nicer to try and get some perspective and figure out what on earth we're going to do now.
Well, this kind of works out. This beach is actually just around the corner from where we anchored, but when we were sailing past, there was just so many boats here. And now there are literally two. And meanwhile, we are going to try and hack our way up through this bit of forest, which we've been told there's a way to get up there somewhere. Okay, engine talk. Basically, Indy's engine on the port side is dead, in effect. We're not particularly loving that news because engines are expensive. So we kind of have three options on the table. Some more appealing than others, some more likely than others. But yeah, nonetheless, three options. Option one, pretty much we run the engine as it is. So we still have a lot of smoke coming at the back, kind of white, kind of blue. The engine's burning oil and probably losing coolant. But if you just keep it on life support and keep pouring fluids into it, like we're trying to keep a relative alive, there is a chance that she'll keep going for a couple more miles. But that's option one.
Option two is what is called a rebuild. So essentially, accepting that the engine is rather dead, stripping it all the way down, taking out all of the parts that are worn out from its 20 years of use, and replacing basically everything individually. 1 second, I have to climb under a tree. And I'm not even leading the hike today, so this is definitely not my fault. The problem with doing a rebuild is that we are basically in one of the remotest parts of the planet, and ordering parts in is near on impossible and incredibly expensive. So it would probably mean sailing all the way to Tahiti to be able to even consider that one, which is about 800 miles away.
And option three is the scariest one of all, which is to basically buy a brand new engine, which we can't do. Brand new engines cost literally tens of thousands of dollars, which we just don't have. So when we say brand new, what we could maybe do is look for a second-hand engine, something that somebody's already taken out of another boat. However, that's probably had equally tough a life as Indy's engines, so who knows what we would be buying.
And so those are our choices. None of them seem very great. None of them were what we planned for. And to be honest, it has all been quite overwhelming. So we are just trying to continue on, make the best of the situation. A friend of ours told us that there was this hike here. So we thought, well, we're here, we'll come and check this out. I can definitely tell they're my friend because I was told that there's lots of different ways to the top, and you can find a little goat path, or you can find like a big horse path, depending on how easy you want it. We have found zero path yet, and now it's just like a wall of spiky bushes.
This is how you can tell that we don't do travel videos, because if you're taking our advice on where to go and how to do it, you're probably dead by now. We're literally in the land of tiki heads, you know, and tiki torches. It's kind of ridiculous to think that Indy made it all this way. And even more ridiculous to think we did.
You think this will be like the hike we did on USVI on St. John?
Oh.
Where it was like crazy, insane steep, and we were pretty sure that if we got up, we wouldn't be able to get down again. And then we discovered we'd gone the wrong way and there was a really easy path down on the other side of the mountain.
So it's always really difficult to show people just how steep a hill is on camera. I'm sure there's people who know how to do this. We live on the water, we don't see it very often, but if you can figure out kind of the steepness of that hillside there compared to the horizon, yeah, we basically picked a mountain like that to climb for some reason. But we did find a path.
Look at that view!
It's pretty cool. Whew.
Okay, we've come down off the ridge to try and like shelter from the wind a little bit so that you can actually hear what we're saying. I feel like, as scrabbly as that hike was,
Yeah.
I've got a fly on your head. At least the reward was better than the last hike we did in Panama, where we got to the top and we were just surrounded by trees. And to see anything, we had to climb that telephone mast.
Yeah,
thing.
that was a bit of a shame. Yeah, not the best hike in the world.
Maybe
Whereas
not.
this, at least we have a great view, and we can check on Indy and Link at the same time, pretty much, which is
Yeah.
quite good going.
Unfortunately, I don't see a better way to get down from here, so we may be scrabbling and just sliding exactly the same way that we came up.
Our friends definitely said that there was a trail somewhere.
Somewhere. Maybe we need to like send the drone up, find the horses, and then follow the horses down.
We'll make them gallop. What's that? When they stampede. We'll make them stampede.
It's so good to just like literally get away from it all, to come up here and just get some perspective. I feel like since we've arrived and had the bad news of the engine, I've just kind of been in, like I've just been asleep. I've just been in a dream and I'm not appreciating where we are and taking all of this in. And now I'm starting to wake up again. And it's like, yeah, we might have this huge issue that we need to sort out and we need to, work out what's going on. But until we're not sailing anymore, I want to enjoy it. I want to take in where we are. So yeah, that's my new approach. I'm determined to enjoy where we are and to explore where we are, because that's the whole point. It's why we do this. And not everybody has the opportunity to be here and to see this. So I want to make the most of it while we can. What does it look like?
It's quite a bit steeper, but we'll get there quicker.
Steep, but we'll get there.
It's like a cliff, but
Like a cliff.
it'd be a fast way to the beach.
Maybe not. Okay, we need to head down the mountain because we have a call to make, falling over with the mechanic. And it's us, so we're going to try the steep way. Might not film this. We'll need all hands on deck.
Okay, we have decided it is time. We need to get ourselves from here, which is just a small island just south of Hiva, and we need to get ourselves up to Nuku Hiva, which is the next kind of big island of the Marquesas, mainly because we have to do our visa paperwork. We have been putting this off as we've been dealing with the engine and just generally recovering, but it is time. So in classic Red Seas fashion, we've decided to wait till about 10 o'clock at night to lift anchor, raise the sails, and disappear off into the blackness.
Well, that didn't really go to plan. It's the next morning and we are still here. We tried to lift anchor last night, got about halfway towards our anchor and the chain was wrapped around something. And with only one engine and 25 knots of wind, we could not maneuver our way around to get it detached, uncaught, unstuck, whatever. So we decided to wait another 24 hours. Now that it's daylight, we can jump in and see what the problem is, hopefully detangle it, and we'll set off later. But I've delegated that job to Ian because it's like really stormy this morning and I think the water's going to be really cold, never worse. So I'm not going in.
Okay, it's attempt number 2. It's just past about 8:30. We've had dinner and thankfully the winds are pretty much constant. So we should be okay just to get going, and from the looks of it, pretty much set sail once and just head straight there. All being well, I reckon we'll get there by maybe 10 tomorrow morning. It's been kind of gusty today and it's rained a bit, but I think we should have a pretty easy run of it.
We got away much easier the second time around, and it is quite a nice night. The winds are pretty variable, kind of 20 knots up to, well, we've had a couple of squalls come through at about 40 knots, which were a nice surprise. We're only flying the Genoa, so at least we can reef everything from the cockpit.
So I took the morning shift just after about, I think it's about 6 I took over this morning. However, I have not been hit with the massive squalls that Brownie's had. She got hit with, I think, 40 plus knots and heavy rain at one point, and another one just after, whereas I've just had one light rain shower. It's kind of heading off over that way now. And otherwise, 30 knots of wind, and we are hooning along. I think we're doing about 8 knots and closing in on Nuku Hiva, which is really cool. What you can't really make out, I don't think, but we're actually going between 2 islands on the way to Nuku Hiva. They're just sort of the entranceway, if you like, and we can see both of them, one on port, one on starboard, and yeah, they're not far away, which makes me think we're not far from Nuku Hiva.
Well, this is more like it. We've got blue skies, we've got sunshine, as long as you don't look that way. The seas have calmed down, the waves have calmed down a little bit. I was feeling quite seasick overnight because I just had zero reference to see anything. There was no moon, and the waves weren't even big, but I just wasn't used to the movement of it. So now everything is feeling quite settled and boring and lovely, just the way we like it. Hopefully a nice kind of daytime arrival. And now that squall is just catching up with us, the one that we can see off our starboard side. I'm hoping most of it is going in front of us, so I'm just trying to slow us down as much as possible so that we only get the very back part of it. And yeah, the winds are not too bad, they're picking up a little bit, but I've thrown a reef in and I'm hoping that most of the rain might miss us. I think we've mostly got away with that. It's definitely passing us by, because now if I look forward, I just cannot see Nuku Hiva, and we're basically aiming right for it. And I can see a little bit of sunshine on the water just right here. So hopefully yeah, I think we avoided that one.
All right, you remember how I said I'd been getting all the good luck and no real squalls to worry about? Turns out that's more true than I thought.
We just don't seem to be able to get away from them today. We had that one come through earlier. I think that was the 7th one that I've seen on this passage. And then out of nowhere, like the clouds weren't even dark, but they just covered the entire sky, and it stayed with us for like half an hour. We had 45 knots sustained for that, pretty much that entire time, which I don't think we make a big enough deal of. I think we say like, oh yeah, we hit a squall and it came through. Oh well, we got through it. But 45 knots, that's quite a lot of knots.
Well, it topped out past 50, I think.
Yeah, I saw 50 at one point. Whew, I'm so glad we didn't have the mainsail up though.
Yeah, that would have been rough.
So we just had like a little triangle of sail. Still enough to like make us go at 6 knots. So steering wasn't a problem, but
redonkulous.
I know, it's me looking forward to like a lovely boring morning, arriving in a lovely new island. And now I'm just like, I just want all the squalls to get out of the way before we get there. I don't want to have to deal with that closer to land.
And in other news, everybody who has complained in the comment section about the condition of our hardtop, I just want to show you something that has really paid off for us. And we did this actually on the passage across the Pacific. We didn't film it because it wasn't very exciting. So you see this muckiness up here that everybody likes to talk about? So that is because water would get caught under the rubber kind of, I don't know, strip there. And then it would grow mold, whereas that isn't mold anymore. That is just the color of the fiberglass, because we have cleaned it so many times.
All this paint like is starting to chip off, so somehow we need to like strip all the paint off and repaint it, but that seems like a massive job. But to stop it getting any worse, we put like a little rubber gutter thing on the outside. So now, like obviously the rain still comes in sideways and it still gets you, but you don't get like a waterfall of all of the water that lands on the hardtop rolling forwards and coming off this front corner and just like drenching you and getting you soaked when you're miserable and facing a squall. So that's good.
It's a win.
All right, we're taking bets. There's a bait ball right in front of us. Are we going to catch a fish? What do you reckon?
I think we had all of our luck for the year in that dinghy catch of the Wahi. So I think we're going to cruise right through this bait ball, and we're going just a bit too slow, and the fish will be like, yeah, right.
Maybe we need to make fishy noises to attract them. Yeah, you go like put your head underwater and do that. See if it works. Bad luck, it looks like the birds have chased it around the corner.
Yeah, we missed it. They literally did an arc around us, but because we're going quite slow, we couldn't keep up to it. And obviously the birds scared the fish, and then the fish all flee. So there's still a bait ball going on, but it's now behind us.
Stupid birds!
Stupid birds.
Well, no luck on the fishing today, but look at the view here. These mountains are just incredible. So we pulled the Jenner away just as we came like around into the bay. We're running our starboard engine, which still has an oil leak, but is manageable as long as we just keep an eye on the oil levels. So fingers crossed, it should all be fairly smooth, and it might mean that we can actually continue moving the boat and exploring and sailing until we get a proper repair done. But I guess this is one of our first tests. Anchor is down and we made it. Look at this place, it's just incredible. I cannot wait to get onto shore and have a little explore, probably after we've had a sleep and eaten all the sugary foods we can find. The engines worked okay, it's quite deep here, so we needed pretty much all of our chain, but we just tried to make sure that we found a spot first time so that we didn't have to like use the engine a lot to maneuver or to back down on the anchor. And I think we're positioned quite well. We're in amongst a whole bunch of boats that we recognise from the other islands, so that's always quite nice to see some friendly faces.
When we said earlier today that this could be the end of Red Seas, I really weren't kidding. We very rarely put out a begging plea for any kind of money. You may have noticed we put our Patreon symbol in the corner of our videos sometimes. That's because we don't just want money for nothing. We want to work for it. We want to give something back to say thank you. And our patrons are people who we are so grateful for. Everything they do for us, from leaving comments, getting the comment section running on our videos before they go out to YouTube, and for the support and advice they've been able to offer, it's huge. And we give everything we can back to them in terms of extra content, direct communication, and so on. If this is the kind of thing that you would like to see Red Seas continue, then this is the one time we're going to have to ask for some extra support. So if you're into it, we'd love you to become a patron, even just till we can get this up and running again. Patrons are getting the absolute latest information as we find it out. So you'll know exactly where things are at in terms of repairs, in terms of replacements, in terms of whatever we're able to do. If you're not into Patreon or that's not your thing for any reason, then we will set up a donation link as well. Because without your help, this story comes to an end. Brian and I don't usually talk about it, but we actually run pretty much 3 or 4 jobs alongside making these episodes just to keep going. But when you're working remotely in parts of the world where you're only reliant on internet, and sometimes that internet drops, it's hard to get a real job. And so a real paying job is almost unimaginable. So this will be the one time that we ask for your help. We're going to do our best to not ask for help again. As you see, I wouldn't say it's pride, but we try our hardest just to keep bringing the fun. We're going to keep laughing, of course. It's the only way we deal with our world around about us. So you're going to see us messing around. We're going to keep smiling, and the episodes from here on are still going to be good fun. We're going to try and keep adventuring. But this is going to be the thing that's going to end it. So, yeah, that's it. I'm not going to go any further into it, but if you're into it, Patreon, a donation link, get in touch, keep in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And hopefully this won't mean Red Seas has to fold, pack up, and Brian and I have to go back to land and get real jobs. Because I'm not sure we can do that. I don't think anyone would take us.
Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata, something, something days. It's our philosophy. Catastrophe.
It is one, yeah.
Hakuna Matata.